What's your favorite scary movie?
What's the Boogeyman?
You hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish, understand?
It's showtime.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to You Can't Kill the Boogeyman podcast. I'm your host, Robby.
I'm Sammi.
And this is a special episode. We are doing Halloween 1978.
Yeah,
the
we're
very
kicking
first
off.
one.
New section, new
with
series.
New series.
There we
We're
go.
done with Scream.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving on to Halloween with John Carpenter.
Which has a lot of movies.
And a lot of movies. So,
oh, yeah.
yep.
Oh, yeah. All right. So it's the night he came home.
Okay.
Are you ready for Halloween?
Don't you think watching Halloween is just iconic? You have to watch this to
It's
actually
like a
get
definite,
ready
yeah, classic.
for Halloween,
Mhm, it's
for
a
the spooky
classic.
season.
I mean, there's a reason why this house is always at the Horror Nights, really.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's iconic to go in there and
Yeah,
revisit the house.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, you want a summary for this one?
Yep, let's hear it.
15 years after murdering his sister on Halloween night, 1963, Michael Myers escapes from a mental hospital and returns to the small town of Haddonfield, Illinois to kill again. So he moved from Woodsboro, California, all the way out to the middle with Haddonfield.
That's awesome.
Get a little bit of a scene change.
Yeah,
This movie came out October 25th, 1978.
okay,
Rated R, of course.
of course.
Genre, holiday.
Holiday,
I mean, Halloween. So yeah,
I guess.
it's called Halloween. Horror, mystery, and thriller. I can see
Okay,
that. Director is, of course, the iconic John Carpenter.
yes.
Produced by Deborah Hill, also iconic, and John Carpenter. Written by the same two, Deborah Hill and John Carpenter. This movie made 1.2, almost 1.3 million from 198 theaters across the US in its opening week. 198 theaters. That's not very many.
Wow. No, it's not.
It's a small release.
And it made,
Its overall box office gross in the US was 47.5 million,
well, no
And it's-
wonder they got another sequel.
and its budget 300,000.
So how much did they make on opening week?
Almost 1.3 million.
That's not very much at all.
But it was only in 198 theaters, and their budget was $300,000.
It did make the budget.
Yeah,
back.
I would say that's successful.
Absolutely. Especially
Regardless.
in filmmaking. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you're like, oh, I made my budget back. Great.
This movie runs at 1 hour and 31 minutes and was distributed by Compass International Pictures.
Are they even still in business?
I don't even know if this is a thing because it quickly moves on to other distributors.
I'm sure.
It has a 96% rating from critics on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
It's a high rating from
Yeah, it
critics.
is. Yeah, it is.
Audiences on Rotten Tomatoes give it an 89%,
Okay.
and it's sitting at a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. So
That's
it's
actually
got some
pretty
good,
good.
and I can see
Yeah, I can
I
see
can see
why.
that, yeah. All right. So despite being set in Haddonfield, Illinois, it was actually filmed in California.
Really?
Yes.
With the 4 leaves you see in the beginning?
Oh, these people. I don't know if I have anything about the leaves, but I have something in my head if I didn't write it down. All right. So the Wallace home is actually on Orange Grove Avenue in Hollywood. The let's see, the intersection where Michael drives behind Dr. Loomis, who's by the hardware store, is Meridian Avenue and Mission Street in South Pasadena, in case you want to go hunting, because many people have done this, like gone to find these
Absolutely.
places. The graveyard is in the Sierra Madre Pioneer Cemetery,
Okay.
if you're looking for the graveyard.
So when we go out to LA, we can definitely hit up some of these.
Go wander around a graveyard.
Yep.
Annie's house is on Annie's house. The hedge scene, the Myers home are all near each other. No, I'm sorry. Annie's house, the hedge scene, and Linda's house are all near each other on Montrose Avenue.
Right.
The Myers home is on Mission Street.
Okay. I don't think it's there anymore.
I'm not sure. I know people have driven around to look at these places. And
I think it was torn down.
It may have been. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. The Doyle House is on Orange Grove Avenue. The phone booth that appears is at Bree Canyon Road and Old Ranch Road in City of Industry, California. I don't know. Never heard of that.
No,
Obviously in the middle of nowhere, which, yeah. Let's see. The hardware store, as we said, that's on Mission Street in South Pasadena.
Where he breaks in.
Yep. Tommy Doyle's school is actually Garfield Elementary.
The boogeyman's gonna get you. The boogeyman's gonna get you.
Oh my gosh. And let's see what else we've got. I'm gonna skip some of these because all right, so Montrose Avenue and Oxley Street in South Pasadena is the establishing shot where we're seeing the fall.
Okay.
As you said, with the four
5
leaves.
or 6, 7,
with
8
the four
leaves.
leaves where it's the Haddonfield 1978. Yeah.
I know they had to reuse them. Like they would shoot.
That's what I was gonna say.
And
They had to pick them up.
Pick them all up before they
Because
scattered.
they didn't have like anything.
So yeah.
That's what I was gonna share. Yeah, that always cracks me up. These people probably hated their lives having to pick up these stupid leaves.
The things you do to produce movies.
Really and truly. All right, so our iconic cast from 1978. We have Donald Pleasance as Dr. Sam Loomis.
He was the biggest actor in these. That's why they got it greenlit because of him.
Jamie Lee Curtis makes her appearance as Laurie Strode, as we all know nowadays. Not back then, she was not a big name.
Nope.
Now, obviously, the tides have turned. Nick Castle plays Michael Myers, aka The Shape, as he was called in this movie. PJ Souls is Linda. Nancy Kyes is Annie. Charles Cyphers is Sheriff Lee Brackett. Kyle Richards is Lindsay Wallace. Brian Andrews is Tommy Doyle. John Michael Graham is Bob Sims. Nancy Stevens is Marion Chambers. We've got Arthur Mallet as Angus Taylor. Mickey Yablans as Richie Castle. I'm sorry, I probably said that wrong. Brentley Page as Lonnie Elm. Adam Hollander is Keith. Sandy Johnson is Judith Margaret Myers. David Kyle is Danny Hodges. Peter Griffith is Morgan Strode. And Robert Fallon as Dr. Terrence Wynn. But yeah, so there's a lot of people I don't recognize the names of on this. But people I do know from watching the movies. So there you go.
That's why it's interesting to have you read the cast and crew. I know, obviously, Dr. Loomis, Jamie Lee Curtis, Nick Castle.
Nick Castle's so famous now.
Those are the 3 iconic people you think of when you think of this movie.
Yep. All right, so this movie was filmed on a Panavision Panavision C series lenses.
Okay.
There you go. I think we have seen that pop up before. Half of the $300,000 budget was spent on the Panavision cameras, so the film would have a 2.35 to 1 scope.
Okay.
Donald Pleasance was paid $20,000 for 5 days of work.
Wow. Because he was the biggest actor.
Yep, he sure was. The movie was shot in 20 days in the spring of 1978.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not too long, 20 days.
They really banged that out.
As the film was shot out of sequence, John Carpenter created a fear meter so that Jamie Lee Curtis would know what level of terror she should be exhibiting.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty clever of them to help her out because she's like, oh, have I seen him? Have I not seen him? Where are we at in this?
Right.
Deborah Hill wrote most of the dialogue for the female characters while John Carpenter concentrated on Dr. Loomis's speeches. I think that's really important to have a woman writing for a female character. Yeah, I appreciate that. So
you connect well with the characters.
I mean, well, in a way, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, the dialogue would seem more realistic having someone who's actually a woman write the dialogue. You know? Right. I think that was a good choice. All of the actors wore their own clothes because there was no money for costume department.
I can see that.
Jamie Lee Curtis went to J.C. Penney for Laurie Strode's wardrobe, and she spent less than $100 for the entire set.
And that was back in 1977?
Yeah, we said spring of 1978. So yeah. Yep, but less than $100 on her entire wardrobe. She shot the film while she was on hiatus from the sitcom Operation Petticoat.
Well, back in those days, you could probably do that. Go to J.C. Penney's and spend less than $100.
Well, I don't blame her, though. She's not going to spend a lot of her own money.
Absolutely.
I mean, now she has the money, but back then she's probably like, hell no, this is going to be a lot of money for me. The dark lighting in the movie comes from necessity because the crew didn't have enough money for more lights.
That makes sense.
Yep. So that's part of that reason. As the movie was actually shot in early spring in Southern California, as opposed to October in Illinois, the crew had to buy paper leaves from a decorator and paint them to the desired autumn color, scatter them in the filming locations, and then after the scene was filmed, collect them to reuse them.
Wait a minute. You're telling me you don't shoot a horror movie in the actual month? You have to shoot it beforehand?
Yeah, and paint leaves.
Really?
To bring with you.
Tell me more.
And paint the leaves to bring with you. However, as Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter note on the DVD audio commentary, the trees are quite full and green, and even some palm trees can be seen, despite that in Illinois in October, the leaves would probably be mostly gone, and there definitely would be no palm trees.
No, there wouldn't, but
it is what it is.
There are things the audience will forgive.
Yeah,
and that's one of them. Mm-hmm. The only thing audience will not forgive is bad audio. That's the one thing that you cannot get away with. Mm-hmm. Got to make sure our audio is correct.
I could see that. Jamie Lee Curtis, this was her first feature film, and she was paid $8,000.
$8,000.
Yes.
8 big ones.
There you go. John Carpenter composed the score for this movie in 4 days.
Wow. Okay.
Insane. And it's like iconic. Yeah. Like everybody knows those Michael Myers little tinkle, when it comes. The Myers house was a local find in South Pasadena, as we said. That was largely the decrepit, abandoned place that was seen in the majority of the film. All scenes that took place in the present day were therefore shot first. Because the house had to look ordinary and furnished for early scenes with young Michael Myers, those were shot last. Almost the whole cast and crew worked together to clean up the place, move in furniture, put up wallpaper, paint the walls, and set up running water and electricity whenever they filmed, and then take it out when they were done. Shooting the scene in a single take reportedly took an entire night of filming and only stopped because the sunlight started to come in.
Wow.
Jeez Louise, sounds like a lot of work. Holy cow.
What you do, just shoot movies, huh?
When they were shooting scenes for the start of the film, all of the ones, where Michael's looking out. Mm-hmm. They couldn't get the 6-year-old child actor until the last day. So the movie's producer, Deborah Hill, volunteered to be Michael for any of the scenes where his hands come into view. Really? That's why the nails on Michael's hands look so well manicured.
Okay.
I'm just like, okay, Deborah, she just steps up where she's needed.
That's what you do as a producer.
Truly, that's what she does. The opening shot, because I think I have another, let's go back to that, another note about something else Deborah did for the movie. The opening shot appears to be a single tracking point of view shot, but there are actually 3 cuts, which I don't think you can tell when you're watching the movie.
Okay.
The Panavision cameras could only hold about 5 minutes of footage.
Okay.
So the first cut is when the mask goes on. The second and third after the murder has taken place and the shape is exiting the room. This was done to make the point of view appear to move faster.
Okay.
But I don't think you can really tell.
I don't think you can really tell.
I don't remember noticing. Well, maybe you noticed out there in listening land, but I didn't notice.
I didn't notice either.
All right. So we got lots of killer facts for you. Body count, 7.
Only 7 in this?
Mm-hmm. Judith Myers, unnamed truck driver, 2 dogs. Really, Michael? 2 dogs.
2 dogs. Okay.
Linda, Bob, Annie.
Okay.
So there you go. Judith Myers was stabbed 9 times. I have never counted it, but there you go. 9 times with a butcher knife.
There you go.
The mechanic guy, I mean, we don't really know exactly what happened. Obviously, Michael killed him and stole his outfit. So
because he died off screen.
Yeah, we don't see him die. We just know he died by Michael, and Michael stole his clothes.
That's when Loomis runs into the truck stop and tries to shoot him. Right? Yeah.
Does he?
Maybe I'm getting it confused.
I think that's a different.
That's a different one. I'm sorry.
I get these mixed up too, though.
That's when
it's not like Scream where it's like different killers.
Right.
It's always Michael. So you're just like, which Michael was this? Which movie was this? I don't think that was in the first one.
I don't think that was in the first one.
Yeah.
I'm getting that confused with one of them.
Annie was strangled and her throat slit with the butcher knife. Bob was stabbed through the chest with the butcher knife. This doesn't adequately explain though, because Bob is like up on the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little bit gruesome.
Bob had the ghost outfit.
Well, Michael put the ghost outfit on and stole his glasses.
Right.
To be creepy.
Yep.
Linda was strangled to death with a phone cord.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's how everybody died. Aside from the dialogue, the script cites Michael Myers by name only 2 times. In the opening scene, he is called a point of view until he's revealed at the age of 6, because they call out to Michael, right? The parents do.
Right.
And then from the rest of the script on out, he's referred to as the Shape until Laurie rips his mask off in the final scene, which never gets reapplied in the script. The Shape is credited in the film, and that refers to the fact that the mask is like obscured. But yeah, when they credit him in the film, they just call him the Shape. They don't call him Michael Myers.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Yeah. So the adult Michael Myers was portrayed by Nick Castle in almost every scene except for some pickup shots and the unmasking scene where he was replaced by Tony Moran. Really? Castle was a school buddy of John Carpenter and was on set just to watch the movie be filmed. It was at the suggestion of John Carpenter that he took up the role of Michael Myers, as he was tall and had what Carpenter considered an interesting walk. Castle admitted he was disappointed to not be the face shown, but understood that Carpenter wanted a more angelic face to juxtapose with Michael's ghastly deeds. Castle has gone on to become a successful director.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good for him.
Yes.
For years after Halloween was released, people would tell writer-director John Carpenter how horrified they were by Michael Myers' grotesquely disfigured face, glimpsed when Laurie pulls back his mask for a moment towards the end. But all you actually see was an ordinary face of the actor, as we said, Tony Moran, playing the role. Perfectly normal, except for the small knife wound that was inflicted by Laurie during their struggle in the closet.
I was going to say, I don't remember it being disfigured. This is not like Jason or something.
Carpenter cites this as evidence of the power of suggestion in cinema, that the audience saw a monster on screen and assumed he must look like a monster underneath the mask.
Yeah.
I think that was very interesting. People are like horrified by him, but he didn't look scary.
The few times you actually see Michael Myers without his mask, he just looks like a normal guy.
Mm-hmm. So there you go, the power of suggestion. The only blood seen in the movie is when Judith Myers is killed, when Laurie discovers the dangling body of Bob and laid out body of Annie, whose throat was slit. And the body of the man that Michael killed after he stole his clothes, and Loomis makes the phone call on the railroad tracks. It's also seen on Laurie's hand and arm after she escapes from Michael.
Right.
So it's really not an overly like gory movie.
Right.
At the end of the day. You have to think like things you don't see.
I feel like he took a lot from Hitchcock, because Hitchcock did a lot power suggestion.
Yes,
things like that. That's where John Carpenter filled in the gaps.
That's what makes it scary,
and that's why this movie is so iconic. Is the power of suggestion, not that it actually happened. Your mind thinks it happened.
Yes,
and this could actually happen. This movie, out of all the movies, this one could actually happen.
True.
So that's why.
It's true. Let's see. Hold on. All right. So this is the first of 2 films in the series where anyone calls Michael the Boogeyman. The second is in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
And we'll get to all the other Halloween movies.
We will. For sure. In the documentary short Halloween Unmasked 2000, which was actually made in 1999, it was revealed that the crew had chosen 2 masks for Michael Myers to decide on. The first was a Don Post Emmett Kelly smiling clown mask.
Okay.
That they put frizzy red hair on. I'm trying to imagine this, and it sounds ridiculous. Yeah. This was an homage to how he killed his sister Judith in the clown costume. They tested it out and it appeared very demented and creepy. Oh God, I don't like clowns like that.
Neither do I.
This is now it's getting worse.
I bet you're excited when we actually watch the movie It.
I might not really watch it.
Oh yeah.
I might just sit like
that
with my eyes covered.
When we do Stephen King,
I hate clowns.
That's an iconic movie as well.
I hate them. There was like that one of those stupid horror houses that we went to. It had like the crazed clown, whatever.
Do you remember?
Oh my God, it's terrible.
We were in there and I was not paying attention. I have something wrong with my neck. And the guy stood in my blind spot. Like I can't turn my head to the left. So if you stand this way, and to the left of me, I have to actually turn my body.
Yeah.
And he ended up standing in my blind spot, and then I turned around, and I almost hit him. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I was like, I drew my fist up, and I was like, wait a minute.
You can't hit the
It's an
actor.
actor.
It's okay.
An actor.
We're not going to injure anybody today.
But I could actually see the fear in his eyes.
Oh, God. So the other mask, obviously, was the 1975 Captain James T. Kirk mask that was purchased for around $1. It
had no money.
It had the eyebrows and sideburns ripped off, the face painted fish belly white, and the hair was spray painted brown. The eyes were opened up more. They tested out the Kirk mask, and the crew decided it was much more creepy because it was emotionless, and obviously this became the iconic Michael Myers mask.
I wonder what William Shatner thinks of that.
He probably just wants money from his...
Well, do you think they would actually? Because
it technically is not the same mask because they colored it, they changed the eyes, they painted it,
right? You
the
can't
hair
really say
too
that anymore.
Yeah, so they ripped off parts of the hair. So yeah, I don't know. It's not really the same.
No copyright there.
John Carpenter's intent with the character of Michael Myers was that the audience should never be able to relate to him.
He's doing a great job.
I don't see what would be relatable.
No.
The stabbing sound effect is actually a knife stabbing a watermelon. So there's a fun behind the scenes fact for
I can see that.
Yeah, I like interesting things like that. In a 2010 documentary, it was revealed that 5 different people dressed as the Shape throughout the movie. So Nick Castle, obviously Nick Castle. Tony Moran, as we said, he was unmasked by Laurie Strode. Stuntman James Winburn, makes sense, they have to have a stuntman available. Production designer Tommy Lee Wallace, due to his knowledge of how much force would be needed to break props during action scenes. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And co-writer producer Deborah Hill.
Yep.
In the external wide shot when Tommy sees the Shape for the first time.
The boogeyman.
Yes.
Yep.
Tony had stated that no one told him until he arrived on set that he'd be wearing a mask. And Deborah explained that she happened to bring the costume with her that day and no one else was available.
You know, when you're looking at that scene and Tommy Doyle's looking out, you can tell it's somebody different.
Like
because,
shorter.
He's shorter.
Uh-huh.
That's how you can tell it's Deborah Hill.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
She's not as tall as Nick Castle. So I always think that's funny, though, that she did that. To ensure Michael Myers would break the window of the station wagon as Dr. Loomis approaches the insane asylum, a wrench was adhered to his forearm and hand. It was painted flesh colored to hide from the camera, but you can still see it in the shot.
So they taped it, and
yeah, if you really look at the shot, you can see that it's a freaking...
All right, I will have to go back and watch it.
I had read that somewhere, so I knew to kind of watch that, but you can see it's a freaking wrench. That's it.
Okay, I'm sure they're like, damn, I really wish we could hide that.
I mean, maybe at some point you should have just been like, he found it somewhere, and that's how he like just acknowledge that you're going to use something for him to break the window. But
yeah,
it's fine. It is what it is. So you do have some horror movie references in this movie. This one, it's not quite like Scream, where Scream, Wes Craven and Kevin really like to pay homage and references to other movies. If you think about it, Halloween's very early.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense.
Don't you think Halloween actually set up for like movies like Scream and everything? Without Halloween, there wouldn't be a Scream.
I mean, you have like Psycho, obviously, was another big influence. Yeah, but I would say Halloween is a big influence on a lot of horror movies.
Yes, I agree.
Today. In one of the scenes, one can see on TV the original The Thing from Another World movie from 1951.
When Tommy was watching that, yeah.
Later, Halloween director John Carpenter made a new adaptation of the same novella, which he simply entitled The Thing, and that was in 1982.
That with, he was in Escape from L.A. He was in Big Trouble in Little China. He was Jack Burton.
Oh, Kurt Russell?
Kurt
Russell, right?
Kurt Russell, that's who we're talking about.
Like, let me make sure I'm thinking of the right person for these movies.
He was in The Thing.
I did not know that. Okay, cool.
We'll have to watch that too.
And well, we're going to do another John Carpenter series outside of Halloween. So that will be on the list. The science fiction, we just said, they also watch Forbidden Planet from 1956 as well as The Thing. The Thing from Another World, whatever, 1951. So they also watched Forbidden Planet. Both films were frequently aired on network television as Halloween specials in the 70s. So appropriate to Halloween's characteristics of Michael Myers, who credits, we said he's called the Shape.
Right.
The first movie involves a tall, malicious, emotionless being, so that would be the Thing, who stalks for blood and is nearly indestructible. The second movie, Forbidden Planet, involves a powerful, nebulously shaped, indestructible manifestation of the id, the primal, instinctive, immoral component of humans, who suddenly appears and murders. What the fuck? Okay. What the actual fuck? Yeah. So there you go. Sounds weird. The scene where Laurie and Annie are discussing who Laurie should take to the prom, Annie suggests that Laurie should go with Dick Baxter. Dick Baxter is the name of the first 3 victims killed by the ghost in The Fog from 1980.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go. Nancy Keys, who plays Annie, is also in that film.
Okay.
And both movies are directed by John Carpenter.
John Carpenter.
There you go.
Since we're on John Carpenter.
I feel like this is like a Wes Craven thing. We're like, let me reference things that I'm involved in.
When I would do the same thing.
I'm not judging it. It seems
that's
similar.
Their ego.
Mm-hmm. In the scene where Laurie and Annie smoke a joint on their way to their destination, Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult can be heard on Annie's car radio. A cover version, I think we mentioned this, plays in the movie Scream, the 1996 original. Yeah. So there you go. There's a tie-in, and I'm pretty sure we did mention that in Scream, but wanted to bring it up again.
Yes, we did.
John Carpenter wrote the role of Linda for PJ Souls after seeing her performance in Brian De Palma's Carrie. There's another one for you. Carrie was released in 1976, so just before this one.
Movie.
I know you don't. You hate on that movie.
It wasn't good.
But we're gonna watch it eventually.
You're
gonna make me watch so much shit. And you're gonna complain about Carrie. Well, you're gonna have to watch the original Carrie too. I
will watch it.
Oh my gosh. Robert. Oh, here's your favorite. Robert Englund.
Yeah.
Of A Nightmare on Elm Street film series revealed in an interview that John Carpenter had him throw bags of dead leaves on set for one day. So he was there with the leaves.
Well, that's cool.
I know, right?
How's that for a second?
Dr. Sam Loomis is Michael Myers' psychiatrist. Sam Loomis is also the name, as we've said multiple times, of Marion Crane's secret lover in Psycho. Coincidentally, Marion Crane was played by Jamie Lee Curtis's mother, Janet Leigh. There you go.
Star power in that family.
All these tie-ins. Tommy Doyle is named after Lieutenant Detective Thomas J. Doyle from the movie Rear Window, 1954. There you go.
I think the development of Tommy in the series is actually pretty good.
It's interesting how they did more with his character than I would have expected.
I can't wait till we get to that, but the actor that they chose to play, we'll have to keep...
Big name actor.
Yeah.
Big name actor. Now, big name actor. All right, we got some general trivia for the movie. So according to John Carpenter, Donald Pleasance asked him how the director wanted him to react when he looked down and saw that Myers' body had disappeared. The actor said there were 2 ways he could react, either shocked or as if he expected Myers to be gone. Carpenter had him play it both ways and use the one that he felt worked better.
That's cool.
Which makes sense.
I feel like Wes Craven would do the same thing.
Well, yeah, he couldn't even decide what to do with Dewey, and he kept having him die and not die, so right. I could see that. But it makes sense to shoot it both ways. If you're like, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it, we'll see when we edit it.
All right. Do it in post.
To this day, one of the most frequent things people say to Jamie Lee Curtis about this film is, why did you throw away the knife? So, yeah.
I wonder what her response to
I don't know. I wonder what she says too. I didn't have the response. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill have stated many times over the years that they did not consciously set out to depict virginity as a way of defeating a rampaging killer. As we know from the series we just did, Randy makes a big point of this.
Yep. It's part of the rules.
But John Carpenter is saying, no, that's not what we were trying to do. The reason the horny teens die is just because they're so preoccupied with getting laid that they don't notice there's a killer. On the other hand, Laurie spends a lot of time on her own and is more alert to what's going on around her. That's all it is. He was not trying to say anything about that. So we will never get rid of this trope.
No.
It's now in lexicon, but officially John Carpenter's like, no, we weren't trying to do that.
No, that makes sense.
So there you go. There are numerous references to Carpenter's childhood hometown of Bowling Green, Kentucky.
I didn't know he was from there.
There you go. The performance of the film's musical score is credited to the Bowling Green Philharmonic. Nah.
Okay.
But there's no Philharmonic in Bowling Green. The orchestra is actually Carpenter and some assorted musical friends, but that's pretty funny. In one scene, the subtitle depicts the location as Smiths Grove, Illinois. Smiths Grove is actually a small town of about 600 people located 15 miles north of Bowling Green on I-65.
You take that to go to Indiana.
You know I-65,
Oh.
Yep. There are also numerous references in Halloween to street names that are major roads in the greater Bowling Green area. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's
the
pretty
Philharmonic thing is what killed me, though. It's not a thing. Oh.
Well, when you get as big as John Carpenter,
You can do whatever you want.
You can make it a thing.
Mm-hmm. John Carpenter was the voice of Annie's boyfriend, Paul, when she's talking on the phone.
Really? Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
We hear on the phone talking to Lindsay and then to Annie. I thought that was pretty funny. It was actually John Carpenter. Donald Pleasance was so taken with the cast and crew being mainly comprised of young people in their early 20s and was so enamored with the spirit on set of the film that when a scene involving him finished shooting, he would help everyone pack away the set to move to the next location.
That's pretty cool.
Even though he wasn't always positive about the movie in interviews, he was always a gentleman on set. And producer Deborah Hill later said that Pleasance was like the elder statesman on set.
That's pretty cool.
I was just like, oh, that's fun. He was like, let me help him pack up.
He's the highest paid actor, number one. He's the most successful actor, but he's down to earth. He actually will be like, let me help you pack up.
Yeah.
And those are the actors when you're actually shooting a movie
that you want
on set.
For sure. When Lori walks home after school and hears scary screams of trick-or-treaters, she walks near the house next door. The car out front is using the same license plate as the stolen station wagon that Michael is driving. Apparently, it reads 59H-390.
I did not know
I
that.
definitely did not pick up on that.
I bet people do. They're like, oh man, this is the same. I'm sure they do.
Here's something fun for you. When Lori and Annie start to walk away from the hedge where where Lori sees Michael Myers, it's about 25 minutes in. It's specifically 25 minutes and 12 seconds in to the movie. You can see two guys standing up on the porch of the house behind the hedge on the right.
Because
they're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, they're at the other house watching them film
They're not
the movie.
extras. They're just like, what's going on? They're filming a movie. Let me check this out.
That would be so me.
It would be. And Robby would be in that background.
I'd get closer to that. I'd be like,
like
what's going on?
You'd see him peeking around the hedge.
I would be that guy.
He'd be literally like sticking his head around the hedge looking.
I think they're filming a movie. I'd go get a sign and something like that. Hello.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Let's see. For Halloween 2017, which we will
get to that.
Not this round.
Not this round.
But it's coming. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross of Nine Inch Nails covered the main themes of the movie. So this is for the 2017 version. At the time of release on the 13th of October, Reznor wrote the following statement on his Facebook. I clearly remember my friends and I at 13 years old conning our parents and to letting us see Halloween when it came out in 1978. We left the theater forever changed. We were damaged and scarred with the shit genuinely scared out of us, and that theme stuck firmly in our heads. John Carpenter, it's your fault that I turned out the way I did.
That's funny.
That had me cracking up. That made me laugh. John Carpenter probably enjoyed that too.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. Nancy Stevens, who played the nurse accompanying Dr. Loomis at the start of the film, later went on to marry Rick Rosenthal, who's the director of Halloween 2.
Yep.
So fun fact for you there. At 3 minutes and 54 seconds into the film, the lights go off upstairs where Michael's sister and boyfriend are. The boyfriend is heard saying goodnight to her from the stairs at the 5-minute mark, leaving 1 minute and 6 seconds for them to have done it.
Well, maybe he's just fast.
1 minute. What the fuck? And I always thought when I watched that, I'm like, I feel like this goes by really fast for everything going on. And there you go. 1 minute.
1 minute, 6 seconds. You know, maybe it was a quickie.
Apparently very quick.
Get on, get off, get out. Boom.
Whew.
You got to do that before the parents get home.
Well, they did it. John Carpenter considered the hiring of Jamie Lee Curtis as the ultimate tribute to Alfred Hitchcock, who had given her mother, Janet Leigh, the legendary status in Psycho, as we said. During the same period, Universal Studio producers and director Richard Franklin were trying to enroll Jamie Lee in the new production of Psycho 2.
I'm glad she didn't do that.
So there you go. The original script was titled The Babysitter Murders.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that.
I did.
It had originally the events took place over several days. It was a budgetary decision to change the script to have everything happen the same day. Doing this reduced the number of costume changes and locations that were required. And it was decided that Halloween, the scariest night of the year, was the perfect night for this to happen.
Right.
That was a good decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. The story is based on an experience John Carpenter had in college touring a psychiatric hospital. Carpenter met a child who stared at him with a look of evil, and it terrified me.
Didn't you?
What in the world?
You do a psycho or a
I didn't have
mental
any children. I had no children stare at me into my soul.
You're a pharmacist, so you had to do a rotation for that.
I did. That was one of my electives.
Weren't you like behind?
There's
safety?
one area where you had to sit in a glassed-in, office.
And how was that? Were you creeped out?
It wasn't too bad because most of the patients were okay. I mean, some of them like would ask questions and you kind of have to like repeat yourself over and over again.
Why?
Because, they just didn't understand.
Okay.
They were down there for a reason.
Okay.
But a lot of them were fine, honestly. I think there was like one time there was like an issue with someone kind of acting out, but
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy.
So nobody shackled to the floor and you're like, oh,
I did not see that, no.
No? That's funny.
No evil children, no.
No evil children.
John Carpenter approached Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee to play the role of Dr. Sam Loomis, which obviously went to Donald Pleasance, but both turned him down due to the low pay. Lee later said it was the biggest mistake he'd ever made in his career.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I could see that after all this blew up.
Yeah.
Although John Carpenter had originally hoped to get, as we said, Peter Cushing or Christopher Lee to play Dr. Loomis, he was thrilled when Donald Pleasance accepted because he was a huge fan. Pleasance was easily the oldest and most experienced person on the production, so understandably, Carpenter was quite intimidated when they met the first time. Pleasance actually started by saying, "I don't know why I'm in this movie, and I don't know who my character is. The only reason I'm doing this movie is because I have alimony to pay, and my daughter in England is in a rock and roll group. And she said the music you did for Assault on Precinct 13 is cool."
Well, that's cool.
I mean, cracking up. Although Pleasance asked Carpenter difficult questions about his character, he turned out to be a good-humored, big-hearted individual, and the two became great friends. And obviously, Pleasance went on to appear in 2 other Carpenter films, but oh my gosh, that just cracks me up the way he's like, "Listen, I don't understand what I'm doing here. I don't know what's going on, but
this is why
I have alimony to pay, and my daughter thinks you made cool music." So,
well, that's cool. That's a good stamp. Oh, my daughter thinks you're dope.
There you go.
There you go.
Daughter approves. The character Michael Myers was named after the European distributor of Carpenter's previous film, as we said, Assault on Precinct 13, who had entered that film into a British movie contest, and it won first prize and became a bigger success than in the USA. The naming was kind of a weird thank you for the film's overseas success, although Mr. Myers reportedly joked that he technically was owed royalties for the use of his name.
Did you ever see Assault on Precinct 13?
I have not seen that, no.
That's actually a really good movie.
I have not. Well, I assume it won first place over there.
We'll have to watch that.
Added to the list. As the film was made in the spring, the crew had difficulty also not only with the leaves, but also with getting pumpkins.
I'm sure.
Makes sense. Only 3 were obtained, so the scene where one is broken on the ground had to be done in 1 take.
Wow.
The crew later got another type of green pumpkin and just painted it orange.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, do what you gotta do, right?
Yep.
This movie, Halloween, was selected in 2006 for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress.
Wow.
Yeah, so there you go.
That means it's going to be in like that secret bunker in the hills.
Wherever they put stuff.
And that they're going to have a copy of this. So if the nukes go off,
Halloween's
going to be safe.
Halloween will survive. All right, so this is something we have discussed. The fact that Michael Myers could drive a car, despite the fact that he was committed to an asylum at the age of 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first movie novelization came up with a simple but effective explanation. When Dr. Loomis drove Michael to the hearings over the years, Michael simply just watched very carefully how he operated the car. So, because, he could see. So even though Michael was in the back seat and there was like that bulletproof glass in between. It was see-through, so he could see everything that the doctor was doing.
Right.
Alternatively, Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers in 1995 provides a retroactive explanation to this question, which we will get to. We'll get to that Halloween movie.
Yes, we will.
But there's one theory out there for you that he just watched.
That's probably the best.
I feel like it
scenario.
makes sense, you know. I could see that. But Deborah Hill worked on this movie for no salary, but earned a percentage of the profits. As the film grossed in excess of $70 million, this proved to be highly lucrative for her.
Really?
Yeah. So good decision, Deborah Hill.
Good for her.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
After viewing Carpenter's film Assault on Precinct 13 at the Milan Film Festival, independent film producer Erwin Yablans and financier Mustafa Akkad sought out Carpenter to direct a film for them about a psychotic killer that stalked babysitters. In an interview with Fangoria magazine, Yablans stated, "I was thinking that would make sense in the horror genre, and what I wanted to do was make a picture that had the same impact as The Exorcist."
And which he did.
True. Carpenter and his then girlfriend Deborah Hill began drafting the story, originally titled, as we said, The Babysitter Murders. But Carpenter told Entertainment Weekly that Yablans suggested setting the movie on Halloween night and naming it Halloween instead. There you go. So it was a big combination of things that got us to where we were.
Yeah.
Carpenter received $10,000 for directing, writing, and composing the music, retaining rights to 10% of the film's profits.
Bet he likes that.
Again, smart move. Smart move.
Yeah.
Carpenter hired Tommy Lee Wallace as the production designer, art director, location scout, and co-editor. Lots of hats for Wallace. Wallace created the trademark mask worn by Michael Myers throughout the film. And as we said, the Captain Kirk mask was very cheap. It looks like it actually cost $1.98. We said around $1. This says $1.98.
You always got to pay the tax, man.
Yep. And Nick Castle earned $25 a day for his work.
Now he probably gets paid a lot more.
I have a feeling Nick Castle makes a little bit more money now. Yes.
Just a little bit.
Yes. So do you want me to share some quotes?
Yeah.
From the movie? So Loomis, when talking about Michael Myers, says, "I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left, no reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil."
That is the most iconic lines in the Halloween franchise.
Yeah, when he's explaining about Michael Myers. It really sets the tone.
Yeah.
Sheriff Brackett says, "It's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare." I love that line. And Laurie famously says, "It was the boogeyman," to which Loomis replies, "As a matter of fact, it was." Dun, dun, dun. Lindsay says at one point, "I'm scared," to which Laurie replies, "There's nothing to be scared of." Tommy asks, "Are you sure?" Laurie nods and Tommy says, "How?" Laurie replies, "I killed him," to which Tommy says, "But you can't kill the boogeyman." And he was right. Always right. Because he never dies.
He never dies.
And this one I threw in here because we referenced this in Scream. Laurie tells Tommy, "Unlock the door. Come here. Now you listen to me. I want you to go down the stairs and out the front door. I want you to go down the street to the McKinsey's house. I want you to tell them to call the police and tell them to send them over here. Now, do you understand me? Go. Do as I say." And they reference this in Scream.
Yep.
Yeah, when they reference going to the McKinseys to call the police.
Yep.
After Casey gets
got. Yes, she does.
All right, before we jump into my last section, what do you think about this movie?
I love it. It's iconic. You can't have Halloween. You can't view the Halloween season without seeing Halloween.
Michael Myers, yes.
I mean, we'll pop this on year round.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those most iconic pictures you have to see.
I agree.
It sucks you from start to finish. There's not a downtime.
I mean, it does move very slow, But as we said, it's all about
Building
what
the
you
character.
anticipate, what's coming.
Mhm.
You know, Lori's looking out the window and she sees Michael Myers and then he disappears. And then repeatedly that happens to her.
Right.
And everyone thinks she's crazy. She sees him by the bushes and then he disappears. Like, first of all, how the fuck does he move that fast though?
Exactly.
Michael like slowly walks everywhere, but he just disappears into thin air constantly. It's pretty funny.
Yes.
And then when it's Annie that yells at him in the car, right?
Uh-huh.
When he's driving, speed kills. I'm just like, who does that?
Who would actually do that? And then he
Jeez
stops.
Louise. Yes. And you're like, oh no.
Here it comes. Yeah.
Here it comes. But the whole, when he finally gets to them and starts killing them towards the end of the movie, I mean, that's pretty iconic. The way he, like we said, he kills Bob by, he's up on the wall. Right. It's pretty insane.
Towards the end, it definitely moves faster.
Yeah, it picks up.
The power suggestion, you have to build up the characters. Usually I don't like slow moving movies, but this is so iconic that it builds the stepping stones
exactly
to make the character great.
Yeah. And then when he's finally in the house with Lori, it's so intense with her trying to get away, and then she hides in the closet, and just the way he just
the way breaks. They do that.
Yes.
That's more in that's when he's stabbing her through the he
just
doors.
breaks into the closet, and she takes the hanger and attacks him.
And pokes him in the eye, and then you see the blood dripping out. That's great. It makes you feel like you're right there and you're struggling for your life.
And it seems so realistic the way it is too, because that's like literally when you watch this movie, I know she's gonna get the hanger, but that's in my head too. I'm like, get a hanger. There's a wire hanger right there.
Right.
Get it. Attack him. Because you think the same thing. Like, what would I do in that situation? And the closet is so small and cramped. It just adds to the scariness.
Yeah.
And then when she thinks he's dead, and he's not.
Yep.
Comes back to life.
Yeah.
Oh, but I like the setup, and I think this movie even sets up Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
You know, he seems crazy, but he's the most sane out of everybody.
He's such the iconic character. With Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, those three characters go down in infancy with this movie. So
they're all so iconic, and you just can't think of Halloween season, like you said, without thinking of all of them.
Right.
And this set Jamie Lee Curtis up as the Scream Queen, even though she took a break from it for a little while, but it's just it's epic.
Yeah. And now it's crazy that we're getting ready to, in 12 days, Halloween Ends comes.
When we film this, yes.
When we film this, in 12 days from now, Halloween Ends comes. And we got tickets to opening night.
We will be there.
So that's next.
That's
not this Friday, but next Friday.
The 14th. Well, it's the 13th, I believe, in the evening that we're going. Is that correct?
Possibly. I thought it was the 14th.
I think it actually is the
13th, I think.
Yeah, the 13th.
Because you don't work that late.
Let's see, shall we? Take a brief pause to pull up our AMC app and double check. October 13th, 8:05 p.m.
There we go.
Will be there.
We will be there.
We will be there to see this movie.
I'm going to dress up as Michael Myers. I'm sure
he has the costume.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to do that.
He has the costume.
So I'm super excited to see this movie.
And actually, so this episode should have released about 2 weeks after Michael Myers, the Halloween Ends came out. So definitely let us know what you think of the new series. We'll be getting into those movies
soon,
as soon as we can with all these. There's a lot of Michael Myers movies to get through, but we will be getting into these movies for sure.
Yes,
definitely. And I'm excited to see what they're doing with the most recent trilogy.
Because
of movies,
because endings suck.
Jamie Lee Curtis has been like hella promoting this.
Yeah, and that's one of her most iconic things.
Yes, I love it. I'm here for her promotions. Sucks. Oh my gosh. But she's been doing such a great job on social media. She's got the hype.
If this is really her last one, I wonder who's going to be able to take the mantle over.
I don't know. I mean, they've tried off and on with different characters. I don't think they've worked as well, but
Michael Myers is not going to die after this one. They're going to have to try something.
at the end of the day, for me though, like, you know, you go to see Michael Myers just to watch Michael Myers kill people, and
Yeah.
if he's doing that,
You're
that's
winning.
okay. It's a Michael Myers movie. I'm okay.
Right.
That's you know, don't give him feelings, don't make it weird. Just have him out there slashing people. That's it.
Absolutely.
So since we're speaking of the timelines and whatnot, do we want to break down the
Yeah.
Halloween timelines? Because this is the most fucking confusing franchise.
Yes,
I swear.
absolutely.
I swear to you. So, all right. In 2021, they did release a remastered, restored version of the 1978 Halloween, just in case you haven't seen it. That's part of Lionsgate.
Okay.
The sequels from Universal Pictures are still part of the Universal catalog, and then there's Miramax period sequels that are actually owned by Paramount now. So when you're trying to look for all these movies, it's a little confusing too about where to find them,
Okay.
because it's like Peacock and Paramount. Yeah, it's a lot. So good luck trying to find them. We just own the movies. I would suggest that for these.
Just buy the DVD set.
All right. So timeline number 1. We're going to have 3 timelines in this. Timeline number 1, we have these films: Halloween 1978, Halloween 2 1981, Halloween 4 The Return of Michael Myers, which was released in 1988, Halloween 5 The Revenge of Michael Myers from 1989, and Halloween 6 The Curse of Michael Myers from 1995.
Okay.
There's your timeline, a timeline that you have there.
Okay.
So in this one, we have obviously, you know, the first 2 movies, you know,
Right.
slash, whatever, kill. And then we've got Laurie is dead,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a daughter,
Yep.
and the daughter is being stalked by Michael Myers, and then the daughter is like, I don't know. They kind of wandered off with this. I don't really care for, honestly, I don't really care for this timeline too much, but
the first 2 movies in this were great, and then the timeline kind of went off. I'm not saying that there weren't good movies, but it just got confusing.
I didn't understand. The
Convoluted.
daughter, like, she kills or whatever she does to the stepmom. I guess she doesn't kill her. I don't know. Attacks the stepmom, but then it's like in the next one, she's not a psycho killer, which I think would have been better to have her be like
Right.
on Michael's side if you're going that route.
Right.
And they don't do that, and we'll get into that. But I don't really care for the timeline.
Yeah, definitely.
And at the end of the day, it's okay, but I don't. Yeah. All right, timeline number 2. So we have Halloween 1978, Halloween 1981. Then we go to Halloween H2O 20 years later, 1998, and Halloween Resurrection from 2002.
I could see that.
I don't mind this timeline.
That's actually a pretty good timeline.
Yeah, I like this timeline.
Yeah,
I'm
I
okay
could
with
do
this
that.
one. And we just entered this timeline actually when our rewatch.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're in the midst of this one. Then we have the final timeline, number 3, which is our newest one. So again, Halloween 1978, Halloween and then we jump to Halloween 2018. This is key here, okay? This is the first one where they do not acknowledge Halloween 2. It doesn't exist to them. They skip a lot of movies, but this is how this timeline works. This one also skips Halloween 2, so remember that. So you have Halloween 1978, then Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills 2021, and our finale, which we have not seen yet, Halloween ends this year, 2022.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
what do you think of that timeline?
I like these new movies.
Yeah,
I am about this.
I don't have any problems with the last 2 timelines.
Yeah. I mean, people complain about the last one, Halloween Kills, I guess, with the storyline and stuff, but I'm like, it was a middle movie. I mean,
sophomore movies are always hard to do.
Well, and you had the beginning, which was setting up everything, and you're just like, oh my God, like what happened, the fire and all that. Mm-hmm. But you know, the second one, they gotta kind of be like, okay, well, he didn't really die. This is why he didn't die. Kind of set the tone for the finale. So you know it's not going to be the best movie of the series, of the trilogy.
Right.
It's not.
It's just to lay the groundwork, the middle groundwork.
Exactly. The ending had a lot going on right at the end of the movie. That's when a lot of the action happened. But I still liked the movie.
I did. I have not had a problem with the newer Michael Myers movies.
And I'm excited for Halloween Ends.
Me too.
To see what they did.
So after you see it, let us know what you think.
All right. Last thing we're going to do, and then we're going to get out of here. With some trivia?
Sure. Let's have some trivia.
All right. I was not prepared, did not have them written out. So We are going to do this off my phone.
Off her phone.
All right. When Annie was getting ready to leave to go see Paul, what did she forget and end up going back in the house for?
I have no idea.
Her keys.
Okay.
Yeah, she couldn't get into her car because she forgot her keys and she went back for them. And, Michael was waiting in the car.
That's
and
right.
then he killed
Her
her.
keys.
And so it was a whole thing. All right. When Tommy got in trouble for claiming to see the boogeyman outside again and for scaring Lindsay, he said very sadly, "Nobody believes me." But what did Lindsay say back?
I believe you.
"I believe you, Tommy." Yep. Good job, Lindsay, because he was right. He was super right.
Should have listened to him.
And when he kept crying about the boogeyman, Lori, you should have been listening to him. Well, as I was going to ask you this, and we kind of already talked about this. When Lori was hiding from Michael Myers in the closet, what object did she use in self-defense?
Hanger.
Yep, the clothes hanger. We already kind of said that. So, spoiler. And how many times did Lori think that she herself had killed Michael Myers?
At least twice.
Aha, that's right. Lori tried 2 times to kill Michael Myers. First, she struck him in the neck with a knitting needle.
Yep.
That's pretty epic. Good try. Good
Yeah.
try. You would have thought that would have worked. And then the second time she stabbed him with his own knife. And each time she thought she had killed him, but being Michael Myers, he always got back up.
You can't kill the boogeyman.
And then Loomis shot Michael 6 times. Didn't matter.
You really have to cryogenically freeze him and then blow him up to get him going.
Yeah, there's he comes back, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
He'll return.
He's coming back.
Yeah, so that's all I've got. We love this movie.
Absolutely.
Highly
love
recommend it. Yes, think it's a great time.
Yeah.
It's a good slow burn for a horror movie to a good setup. I'm excited to get into the next ones because John Carpenter definitely has some feelings about the second movie.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the second movie. I don't know how you feel about it.
I don't mind it either.
Yeah,
I'm excited to hear what he has to say about it.
Yeah, not as thrilled going into the second one and we will be able to explain that mysterious Halloween 3, which makes no fucking sense in the timeline of Michael Myers.
Right. No,
yeah, we'll get into that too.
All right. Well, thank you for checking out our first episode of Halloween.
Woo!
Definitely like, subscribe, comment. It helps out a small channel.
Please.
Definitely follow us on Instagram, Robert1950 Studios, or at Boogeyman Pod.
And the Same Lamb.
Or at Limitless Broadcasting.
Yes, please.
Yep.
All right, we will see you next time for Halloween 2. Bye.
Bye.
You Can't Kill the Boogeyman podcast is produced and hosted by Robby and Sammi Brooksby as part of the Limitless Broadcasting Podcast Network. Post-production and intro by Sammi Brooksby. Follow the show on Instagram at BoogeymanPod. You can also follow the Limitless Broadcasting Company at Limitless Broadcasting and your horror hosts at Robert1950 Studios and at The Samalam. We also have a TikTok at 1950 Studios. Email your creepy comments and spooky suggestions to us at boogeymanpod@gmail.com. Don't forget, everyone is entitled to one good scare. Have a horrific week.